Donald Trump is very keen on tariffs, something that a lot of countries don't like, especially China. But I actually like I tell you this as a financial journalist, I appreciate the idea of going towards tariffs far more than the idea of going to war. Okay, now I get it. Sometimes you have a few too many tariffs, you can actually create a war. But if you're thinking about escalating a situation, wouldn't you want to do so financially before you do so with actual bodies? I look at what happened, for example, in Russia, Ukraine, and I think, couldn't there have been a better way? Couldn't you have had better diplomacy? And if the diplomacy wasn't working, couldn't you have sanctioned them all day long? Sanctions, sanctions, and sanctions some more. And by the way, we're the United States of America, thank you very much. The hegemonic power in the world, we still are. And if you're going to do business with Russia, and we said, no, you can't, then we ought to be able to use our influence to really ensure that you're not doing any business with Russia. Donald Trump gets this. He understands that those who control the purse strings control the world. And so you might as well use it to your advantage. Here he is again talking with my former colleague Maria about the importance and the power, if you would, of tariffs.
Tariffs as a national security tool?
Absolutely. So tariffs have two things. Number one, I think they're great. You take in money. If China's charging us 100%, then we don't charge them anything. You know what happens? They say, we don't want your cars from America. We want you to build your factory in China or other countries.
Look, he knows how to do it. He knows how to do it. And he knows that he has a tremendous amount of power using things like tariffs, because you can be extremely direct, extremely pointed. And you can say, hey, you know what? We actually don't want you importing those goods. And he's right. You know what? China does it to us all day long. So you've got to strike a balance. And this is why it's important to have people who understand the economy there in the White House. You got to strike a balance between growing as a nation and exploiting and using all of those overseas markets to your advantage, but simultaneously making sure that you're not decimating America in the process. And by the way, when you get some national security concerns, go for it. Go for it all day long, because you can use those tariffs to influence behavior. You get the new president of Mexico, for example, trying to say that, yeah, she doesn't really believe in borders of any kind. Well, what's Trump going to do? Trump's going to come in there and he's going to say, well, if you don't believe in these borders, and if you don't actually want to work to secure your border, I'm not going to allow these American companies to be building all of these cars in Mexico and sending them into Texas and elsewhere at such a discounted rate. And then she's going to have to think twice about that. Right? So again, there's a tremendous amount of leverage and power that you can wield with those tariffs if you understand how to do it. But again, you need to have people that actually understand this stuff. And I don't think the economic team in the Biden administration understands anything.